The secret of being competitive. Are you a competitive person? And does competition make you work that bit harder, put that bit more effort in? Well, let me tell you, at the weekend, I shared some of my stories, and I was actually quite surprised with some of the results, but I wasn't. I have to be really honest, I wasn't. And I was at a game of bowling with my daughters and her friends for their birthday. And I always enjoyed bowling when I was young. I really loved to bowl when I was young. And I'm still okay at it. I got a couple of strikes, and the girl's like, "Oh my goodness, Mummy, you're doing really well." And I won the game of bowling. So after that, I put a poll up on my stories. Do you think I'm a competitive person? And the majority said yes, but a few people had said no. And it's really interesting because I don't know what being competitive means to you, or if you class yourself as a competitive person. We're all very, very different. But let me tell you, when I was in high school, I'm going to refer more to high school. When I was in high school, secondary school, the main competition of the year was sports day. And I wasn't all that good at sports. I wasn't very fast. I wasn't good at do the big high jumps. I really just wasn't very talented when it come to this whole sports part of it. So for me, competition was really, really tough. Being competitive was tough because how could I be competitive at a sports event when I knew I didn't have a hope of even getting close to any of them people that were really, really talented at it? Because there's lots and lots of people that are very talented at sports. We all have our own talents. So for me, being competitive, I had a very unhealthy relationship with it growing up. And then when you put me around the Monopoly board, the competitiveness, it come alive, it really come, and I was very competitive at things like that. And I honestly believe that the reason why I was so strongly competitive at things like a Monopoly board was because I had a chance of winning. But how can you be competitive at something in life when you believe and know in your heart that you haven't got any hope of winning because the people against you, you know, that they're very good and you just don't have the same talent? We're all very, very different. So ask yourself this evening, are you a competitive person? Do you see yourself as being competitive? And what do you see yourself being competitive at? And it's not all that bad, because when we think of competition, we think it's about winning, it's about outdoing the other people, and we're standing there and we're comparing, thinking, are we better, are we not better, are they better? And all of this conversations goes through your mind. But let's flip it for a moment. And this is what I have done when it comes to being competitive. And it's took time and it's still work in progress. And I want to share this with you because it is really, really life-changing, especially if you are a very competitive person. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of being competitive. Don't be thinking about anybody else. How about you start to be competitive with yourself and with no one else? How about you start to be competitive with the person that you were yesterday and not have to worry about anyone else? And that is the key to when and how you can use being competitive to a huge, huge advantage. Because if you are naturally a very, very competitive person, there's many, many advantages, but there's many, many disadvantages. And what I have had to learn is that in my childhood, when I wanted to compete, when I wanted to be competitive at sports, at sports day, at Irish dancing, I didn't have a hope, you know, and I learned to accept when something good happened. And I was really, really grateful for that, but it was heartbreaking at times. And then I had to learn ways where I could be competitive. And honestly, it was really around the Monopoly board where I got my competitive streak out. I always went to like Mayfair and Park Lane, and I always put my all in. But over the last few years, because I've been in industries where there is competition, there is comparison, and it's not healthy. It's really not healthy. So what I do now is I compare myself to myself. I compete against myself, and every day I try my very best that I compete to the person that I was yesterday. And try it for yourself. Ask yourself, are you that competitive person? And I want to share with you all just a few different tips that may help you get along. And really, you know, as I mentioned, challenge yourself. Okay, so if you're working on a task at the moment, or if you're going for a promotion, or if you're just working on something at the moment, maybe you're working on your health and fitness. Okay, think about how can you get better than you were before. Stop thinking about other people, because it's not going to help you. It's not going to serve you. We need to put them all to the side, and just, again, it goes back to that things that we can control, keeping around them things that we can control, being competitive with yourself. Whatever it is that you're going to tackle, how about just doing it better than you did at the time before, and work on that, and that will really, really help. Challenge yourself. Here's another key one we spoke about last week. And people who are very, very competitive, it's like win or fail, okay? But in life, we have to fail to learn, so see failing as a good, as an advantage to you. And you hear many, many stories of successful people, whether it be in sports, the Olympics, all of that. They've had a terrible, terrible experience, ordeal. They've had a real, real big failure, and they come back and they absolutely smash it. So we have to fail to learn and to move forward as well. And I'm going to leave you with 5 good reasons that really would help you to be competitive, but be competitive for yourself and against yourself in a healthy way. I'm not saying if you are suffering and feeling very, very deflated that you're constantly beating at yourself. It doesn't work like that. You get yourself to the best place you can, and each and every day you try and be a better person the next day. So number 1, it will keep you motivated. If you have that competitive spirit inside yourself internally, it will help you keep you motivated. You know what your goals are, what you want to achieve better than you did last time, and it will really, really help. Number 2, it will give you more clarity on exactly what you're doing and what you're working towards, and what that direction looks like. It'll be a lot more clearer. We've given you some more clarity along the way as well. Number 3, absolutely love. We're all very creative. You learned that a number of years ago, but it will inspire that creativity within you as well. So you become more creative because you're really digging deeper there, and that creativeness is coming out within you as well. It really will allow time for self-reflection, and self-reflection is so, so important, but a lot of us run the opposite way. But when you have maybe failed, or when you haven't reached the point that you want to reach, or when you're not happy, it's so, so important to have that time to self-reflect, to see where you can work on, what can you improve to do better next time. And the final one, it will help you develop new beliefs. It will help overcome even them limiting beliefs that's holding you back. So it will really help develop them beliefs. And when I was going through that transition of really stopping to really think about other people and focus on myself, there was a quote that always come to mind, which I'm going to leave you this evening. It says, "A flower does not think about competing against the flower beside it, next to it. It just blooms." And that's exactly how you want to treat competition in your own life. Use it to all its advantages, and use it solely for yourself as the unique individual that you are. Speak soon.